This is part 2 of a video set describing how I diagnosed and fixed a 1998 Dodge Ram with seatbelts that won't extend. In the first video, we diagnosed a bad seatbelt timer module, and I described various options moving forward. In this second video, I complete the diagnosis, inspect the module, and then jump switched power through fuse 16 to both seatbelt actuators. All right, let's talk about where we're at here. It turns out the seatbelt timer module is not waking itself up. Right now, it's not working. It's asleep. The seatbelt timer module is asleep. Well, what is it that causes the seatbelt timer module to wake up? It's the door, either when the door opens or closes. The way the door works is with the door switch down here. Now, is this switch working? Well, a quick way to look at it is to look at the lights overhead. When the door is closed, the lights overhead are off. And when the door is open, the lights overhead are good. And so that strongly suggests that this door switch is working properly. But let's see if that signal is getting to the module. Now I've got the module apart, and what we're going to do next is we're going to set up to back probe that connection of the door switches to the module. All right, so we're going to use the power probe here just because we don't need terrible accuracy. And we're going to back probe the switch to the driver's side door switch. Now, when this door is open, we get a ground, which is what we expect. And then when we close the door, we get 4.4 volts. So this is going to be a 5-volt signal. And we're not seeing any evidence of voltage drop here that I can see. And so I'm going to call this circuit good. Now, while we're at it, let's have a look at the fault wire that connects the seatbelt control module to the airbag module. And I'm back probed into the light green wire with a black stripe. And I'm just going to turn the ignition on. And let's see what the voltage is on that system. And you can see it's at 8.7 volts. All right, now I'm interested to know what happens when we unhook this, and in particular, whether the dome lights stay on. And so we're just going to unhook the connector and see what happens. And it's unhooked, and the dome lights are still on. I want to see if the voltage that we get with the door jamb switches comes from the seatbelt control module or not. And so I've unhooked the seatbelt control module here, and we've back probed into the door jamb switch, and now we're going to close that switch and see if we still get the 4 volts. And yes, we do. And I can tell you that I get the same result of all of this testing on the right door as well. So my next step is to see if there's anything fixable in here, be it cracked solder joints or bad capacitors or whatever. And it's got these plastic rivets here, so I'm just going to carefully drill them out. Now it looks like this just lifts off here. Okay. I've spent about 15 minutes on this thing, and I'm not seeing any cracked solder joints or evidence of burning or corrosion or any abnormality. It actually looks pristine. Well, let's talk about how the seatbelt control module is powered. It's powered with 2 circuits. Circuit 12 is a so-called IOD circuit, ignition off draw. It powers things like the overhead lights and the cab lights and the radio presets and so forth. And then there's circuit 16, which is switched power. Now, if you're on the road and your seatbelts fail to work, one of the tricks you can do is to pull this fuse out. Now, it's got a plastic carrier here, which I think is interesting in and of itself. And now the fuse is out. And you can leave that out for a minute or so and then put it back in and see if rebooting the system will work for you. Now, you can't get that plastic fuse out, so how do you assess it? Well, to pull the fuse out completely, there's a little flap here. It's on the opposite side. And you take a hook and you peel it back, and it opens this little plastic door. And then once that door is open, then you can get at the fuse. So as fascinating as this device is with its little inertial ball and whatnot, I can't fix this. I don't have the parts or equipment or even the circuit drawings to fix it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass the blue wire to the 2 seatbelt actuators, and that'll be a workaround. Let's get cracking with that now. So what we want to do is we want to jump the blue wire here, this blue one right here, pin 5, to pins 7 and 8, which are that one and that one, feeding these two orange wires. Now there's two ways we could do it. We could do it by just stabbing it in a front probe way, and I've seen people just take wires and just push them through. But the problem with that approach is that you're going to spread the connector and damage the connector if you do that. And so I'm going to do it back in this area here. I don't want to have to cut the wire, and it's been a bit problematic depinning that from the connector, so I gave up, and I'm just going to solder it like this, carefully stripping off the insulation now. So it's all buttoned up and it's working just about as expected. The seatbelt relaxes fine when the key is on. The engine doesn't have to be on, but during a sudden deceleration you get what we expect. So it behaves just like a normal seatbelt does, most of the seatbelts on the road. The only annoying issue is that pesky light on the dash, and so I'm going to use a little piece of black tape to cover that up. The next time I have the bezel off, I'll go into the cluster and take that bulb out, but for now I'm just going to leave it with a little piece of light. I hope this video helped you out. Thanks for watching.